How's that doing? I'm back in Blighty. I returned yesterday and I came back with a feeling of a bit of sadness, but I had a wonderful holiday. Upon recommendation from my cousin Lee, who's just gone over to live in Costa Blanca, who is a Spanophile, someone who loves Spain, he recommended Andalusia as the place to go, a little place called Nerja. Fortunately enough, I have a friend who lives in Andalusia, Grov, who set up life in a little village called Algarrobo, which is junction 277 off the main drag from Malaga all the way to Nerja. But anyway, Spain, what does it offer? What's good about it? Number one, the climate. Start off simple, especially down southern Spain. Beautiful climate, especially this time of the year, nice and temperate. Maybe in the summer it can get a little bit too hot for the likes of me, but this time of the year it's a wonderful time to go. Number two, the food. Apart from being meat lovers, because obviously you get tapas with a beer, which is fantastic. I don't mind a bit of fresh fish and all now and again, but generally they are a meat eating country, but you can still get loads of fresh vegetables and loads of fresh salads and you can't go wrong. Number three, they're a very social culture. You see them out a lot. You know, the whole lifestyle is generated around coming together. It's probably governed by the climate, to be honest with you. Getting outside, talking, socialising, spending time with family, which I think this is something we need a lot more of in this country. When the sun's shining in this country, people come out, will go to the pub, they have barbecues, but people tend to get leathered. You know, not everybody, but which can be good, but we all know the negative side of that. The other thing about their country which promotes inclusiveness is the fact that they're all governed under one religion, really, which is Catholicism, which again has a good aspect and a negative aspect, because England is associated with freedom of thought and expression, and I think that because there is more separation and individuality, you get a much more variety and variety really in the way people express themselves through music, art, fashion, opinions, politics, etc. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was as an example of Spanish culture, because people go on holiday, they're going all inclusive or they're going a package, and you're not really getting the right flavour of Spain. Obviously when you go and live with somebody or you spend a day with somebody who lives there, you get to see and feel what it's all about. So this little village where Grov lives, it pulls off up a dusty track. It's a bit of an industrial area to start with, it's a bit smelly, but as you go up towards the hill, by the way, I don't think there are any street signs at all. You wind round and you reach up into this sort of like village, which is just maybe a mile or two from the sea, and it's built on the side of a hill. And I noticed all the old fellas who were sat on a bench just generally socialising, relaxing, spending time talking. Up further on the hill there was the younger fellas. These were about 70, 80, these guys, 70, 80, 90. Further up the hill, the 40-year-olds were socialising. You had the church slap bang in the middle of the village, and the day that we went was Day of the Dead, Halloween, which what I noticed was it's much more of a family community event than Halloween is over here. Over here, generally Halloween's for children. It's become more Americanised, where now people spend money on decorations and outfits and have parties and get drunk, which is good fun. But over there I noticed it was almost like a bank holiday. Everyone had parked up lower in the village in the car park and were bringing flowers to the church, because they were spending the whole night really in the community, in the church, talking, dressed up. The children had all the outfits on, and it was a real communal event. We went for a wander into the village and we went into a little place called M&S, not the Marks and Spencer's, but it was a community cafe, and we went to sit down. There was 5 of us, 4 adults and 1 child, and the guy said no, the main table at the back was reserved. So that's fine, so he made us another table, very friendly, but it was reserved for children. So, and then literally within half an hour of us sat down, about 15, 20 kids came in to sit down for a can of pop and something to eat. And that really struck me, because over here in pubs and restaurants, children are an afterthought. Sometimes children aren't allowed in. Yeah. I think this is one of the remnants of the Victorian culture, which still, there's still a fine residue of that culture in this country with the, the Tory work, capitalist, ruthless kind of leadership. I'm aware in Spain there are still remnants of the Franco era, who only came out in the 80s, which was a right-wing dictatorship. And there are still people out there with probably Franco philosophies, but really in Andalusia, so I'm led to believe, they're very much an outdoor, wild, free kind of people, which really struck me. So that was wonderful. There were people coming in and out of the cafe, getting food, having a drink, cheap as chips, great fresh food. I'm led to believe that they grow their own food, because a lot of people who own their own little villa or whatever in the community have have land in the campos where they grow the food, or might even go to live in the winter and rent the place out in the summer to tourists. My friend's son Billy, who's completely acclimatised and is fluent in the language and what have you, he's got a friend called Poco, and he basically spends most of his time barefoot. So he walks around the town barefoot all the time. When he's up in the campos, he's out there running on the gravel, and his feet are hardened to it, and he sort of like refuses. He only wears shoes for school. As soon as he gets out of school, he takes them off. I thought that was fantastic, because in this country we're so bred into you in terms of the image and the style, and like the brands and what have you, and we can be very much cut off from nature, especially where I live in is sort of like northern Manchester. It's very much sort of like an urbanised area, but we do live on the edge of forests and nature. I do like to get out. I do like both of them, but a lot of people generally are cut off from nature, have phobias around nature, around dirt, around insects, around animals. There's nothing to be afraid of at all. So the children are free. Billy's out playing all the time. They don't really bother with TV. They don't have a drink. They don't tend to get drunk. They're just out there foraging, exploring, having a laugh, doing one thing, and the culture is, very much children oriented. So, it was really sort of like, so when I came back, and obviously my son's 7-8 years old, he's got a great life, and we support him to the hill, and we've adapted our lifestyle to spend more time with Shane over here, because he's got loads of activities. I just felt a little bit saddened, because I had the opportunity, in the early 80s to have lots of freedom and get out there, and I learned so much. I took so many risks, and really moulded who I am as a person, a freedom-loving person with an open mind, an explorer. And that's given me the foundation to be who I am right now, with working for myself, spending time with children, my wife, and not getting caught up in the bullshit rat race, which many people are over here. Yeah. So, I'm going to take a few little lessons and a few little experiences from Spain, and just integrate them a bit more into my lifestyle over here in England, because I do love England. I've come back, it's autumn, the sun's shining, the colours in the leaves are beautiful, there's leaves on the floor, bright skies, there's a nice crispness and what have you. It's a beautiful place, but we can all learn something from each other. I think the Spanish could learn from us, we could learn from the Spanish, and no doubt that little working class village in Algarrobo really, I owe a debt to that village, and I owe a debt to Grovamandi, wonderful people out there who are living their life and have adapted. And I'll be going back there for sure, exploring more of Spain, more of Andalusia, visiting Lee and Costa Blanca, and one last note, Granada. What a city that is. You've got to get to Granada. What a city, it's steeped in history, culture, liveliness, food. The students out there are cool. It's got like, a vibe there from sort of like the Eastern, the Muslim influence over the years, and it's a right melting pot. So definitely going back to Granada. But anyway, that was my musings on my trip to Spain. Thanks to Lee, doing a great blog, Espana Lives, who's out there living it at the moment and integrating. Thanks to Gov and Mandy and everyone else. So take it easy. Goodbye.